Hi, and welcome back to Silicon Valley Ed News. I'm your host, Michelle Omari, and today we have the bike wizard, Ryan Murphy. So, Ryan, can you tell us a little bit of what you do?
I work on bicycles. I bring them back into working condition so that they're safe for the rider to ride around. Most of the time I'm fixing flat tires because bicycle tires are pneumatic tires. They hold air, and when there's a puncture in the tire, the air leaks out and you can't ride the bike. It's kind of like if you were driving a car with a flat tire. It's very difficult to do.
Pretty interesting. I should have brought in my bike for you to fix.
Okay.
So can you begin fixing your bike now?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So this is just a typical bicycle. This is the type of bike that a person would be riding to and from school or to work. So just imagine, it's a beautiful day. Friends are over, they got their bikes. You want to go for a bike ride, and then you come out and you go to get on your bike, and sure enough, oh no, where did all the air go? There's no more air in the tires. So in this case, when a person brings their bike to me, I look at it, okay, you have a front flat. How's the rear? Oh, that's flat too. Michelle, what you been doing? Where'd you been riding at? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we'll fix it. It shouldn't take more than like maybe 10 minutes. So the first thing to do is you have to undo the brake quick release. This will actually release. And then you have to undo the axle quick release, but notice one thing, the wheel does not pull out of the bike that easily because this is not bolts on, so this is a lever that tightens the wheel to the fork. So if you open this up, it doesn't fall out immediately. That's a safety issue. So you have to actually undo this little knob that's on the right side and just let it fall out. As simple as that. So then, to get the damaged inner tube out, take the tire cap off, and then you basically have to, now a tire will actually pry away from the rim. So you basically just have to pull the tire up, and you have to pull it away from the inner channel of the rim. Now this stuff is it's pliable, you could work with it really easily. And then all you have to do, take the tire and just simply go around the whole circumference of the wheel, and then the inner tube should just easily pull right out, just like so. So pull it the rest of the way out of the tire, and then go ahead and pull the tire back, lift the damaged tube out of the rim, and then with this you could basically just set it aside. Now, if you need to go to a bike shop and get an inner tube, be sure to check the rim sidewall, and there should be the tire size on the side of the rim, on the tire sidewall. So now that we have our inner tubes, we just got fresh inner tubes. So they're going to come, the inner tubes are going to come wrapped up, just like so. So before you actually get these put in, go ahead and undo the tire cap. Take the tire cap off. Now this is going to be kind of like a flat big piece of tape. So you have to actually put a little bit of air in the inner tube, and the purpose for doing this is so that you can actually get the inner tube inside the tire easier because it gives it shape. So go ahead, locate let's see, you got the hole in the rim, and that's where the valve is going to go. And then go ahead, pull the tire away from the valve, away from the rim, and then go ahead and insert, and then pull the tire over. And you have to actually, you have to kind of manipulate the inner tube, there we go, into the tire, just like this. So you're pulling, you're actually pushing the inner tube into the tire, and then you have to go the entire circumference, and then you have to now make sure you pull the valve stem out. Now the tire is halfway on the rim, so start from the opposite end of the valve, and then you can actually, before I go any further, make sure that the tire is going the correct direction, which you have to turn it around. Now actually, before I go any further, see these little silver things right here? Those are called spoke nipples. And then those are actually exposed, so that's what damaged the other inner tube in the first place, because they have sharp edges on them. So you want to make sure that those little spoke nipples are covered up. You want to keep them covered up so they don't damage the new tube. So on a bicycle tire, there's going to be an arrow indicating which direction it goes. So in this case, the arrow is pointing counterclockwise, and I'm going to go ahead and put the quick release side on the counterclockwise side. So then go ahead and push the rim through the valve stem and then into the rim itself. And then with your fingers, so you can actually use, you could kind of use like these tire levers. I'm going to pull these out, and I'll give you a little, let's see, there we go. So the tire lever, you can actually get, the tire lever will go inside between the tire and the rim, and you could lever the tire into the rim channel. So in this case, this is a really loose fitting tire to the rim, and most of the time these are actually used for more racing bikes where the tires fit tighter on the rim. So since this isn't a racing bike, this is really easy work to work with. So I'm just going to use my my hands. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just work the tire into the rim channel, just like that. I'll make sure that the valve is not pinched in between the rim and the tire. And then now that we have the fresh inner tube in here, we're going to air it up. Now, this is actually called a floor pump. Now, the components of this floor pump will actually have, of course, the head. Now, the head is actually, there's two types of valves for a tire. There's Schrader valve, and then there's Presta. And Presta valve is like those fancy little valves that are on the racing bikes. And then in this case, this is Schrader, so it's the same thing as a car or a truck. And then you go ahead. Now, before you actually put air in, you have to squeeze the tire because the valve will not go anywhere. If you don't squeeze the tire, the valve is basically going to disappear into the tire. So then you have to actually pinch the tire, install the pump head, lever the yellow lever downward so it's pointing to the hub of the wheel, and then you can actually start pumping the tire. So one of the things with a bicycle tire, it's going to have a pressure rating on the side of the tire. So in this case, this tire is rated between 50 psi and 70 psi, pounds square inch. So this gauge, this is a really cool pump because it has a tire pressure gauge right here. And the purpose for the tire pressure gauge is so that you don't blow up your tire. It's really loud when that happens. It's not good. I've blown up a few tubes in the shop before, and it really rings your ears. So I'm going to go ahead and pump up the tire. Now, pump the tire up just a small amount, not all the way. And the reason you want to do that, because sometimes the inner tube will actually pop out of the side of the tire. And if a person keeps pumping up the tire and they keep pumping it up, then the inner tube could actually bulge out of the tire, of the side of the tire, and then that'll actually cause like a loud pop, or almost like an explosion sound. So like I said, it's really loud. In this case, it all is going really smoothly. So I'm just going to go ahead and pump up the tire. In this case, I'm pretty much just going to use like about 60 pound/square-inch, because I like to go in between. I won't pump it as low as 50. I won't go as high as 70. If you don't have enough air pressure in the bicycle tires, it's going to make the bike a little hard to ride. It's going to make it feel like you're riding uphill, basically. And that'll also damage the inner tubes too. So we're getting probably about, let's see, there's 60. And then we're gonna go at about 60, let's say 62. And then off with the valve. And we'll set that tool aside. And then be sure to use a tire cap. It's just that you don't want debris and dirt inside the valve. So then at this point here, you want to grab the wheel by the center, the hub, and then you're gonna push it up into the fork. You want to turn the quick release lever about 7 times, and then close it a few times. And then you want to have about 12 pound/square-inch of pressure on the lever. But then again, you have to actually make it so when you close the quick release lever, it will actually squeeze the wheel onto the fork. So then this is actually a toolless system. Now the rear wheel, which I'm going to start on next, it actually requires a tool. So I'm going to spin the wheel. All looks good. Attach the brakes. Now bicycle needs brakes, remember that. And voila, front tire's done. So now when you move to the rear wheel, now this is where it gets a little bit difficult, because you have bolts both sides, got brake quick release, and you got the chain. So when to get the rear wheel off, now this could also be a situation where if you want to haul like your bicycle inside your future car, you get a car in the future, you want to take your bike somewhere, you want to get the wheel off, shift the chain to the highest gear, and that's all the way to the right, and then go ahead, undo the brake quick release. The reason you have to actually undo the quick release on the brake is that the tire is actually a little bit wider than the rim. So if you tried to get the wheel off of the bike without undoing the quick release, then with the tire pumped up, the wheel will not fall from the bike. It'll get hung up on the brake pads. So with this situation, this is a ratchet with a 15mm deep socket. So let's see. So the easiest way to do this is to actually apply the tool, and then you want to loosen one side a little bit at a time.
So Ryan, that's pretty interesting and all, but unfortunately we have ran out of time.
Ran out of time?
Yep.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
Did you get enough info from the front wheel? Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
So thank you for joining us today, and I would
You're
like
welcome.
to thank the crew for being here. And so
Excellent.
Is there any final words you would like to say?
I would like to say, be sure to keep your tires aired up. Remember whenever you go to take something apart on a bike, just keep in mind that you want to keep it, remember what you did so you could actually redo it and then put it back together. But basically, keep your tires pumped up and keep your brakes working. And if it breaks, call me.
That's pretty impressive.